Use the hashtag #WhatILearnedToday so we can reach out and touch you. The Daily Mojo.
Before I got on this, before I joined you here, I was having a conversation with a friend, and one of the things I pointed out is that the toughest thing about society now, all societies, not just this one, is the growing level of immaturity. Because if you think about it, years ago, if somebody said, well, look, if you're a boy, and you say, oh, no, but I'm a girl. No, I feel like a girl. Or no, I feel like a cat today. Or as the guy in Ontario is like a 50-year-old man and decides, no, I'm an 8-year-old girl. Traditionally, somebody would say, you are insane. Either we're going to commit you, or if they're young, no, you can't act like this is inappropriate. My grandmother used to say, if I did anything other than what she said, what she wanted me to do, she'd say, you want me to put a dress on you? Say, whoa, hey, whoa, hold on. No. We're good. You want me to rake the lawn? I'll do it twice. But
you want me to put a dress on you?
We enforced maturity. We enforced the roles you're supposed to not play, the role you live, the role you are. And without, the willingness to do that, starting with the older generation, the baby boomers, Gen X, and so on, we're going to continue to have a decline.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever told you about my office mate at a radio station that I worked at out in California. Loved this man. His name is Johnny Gunn. And in his later years, he died a couple of years ago in his mid-90s. And he wrote a book basically on his life as a cross-dresser. I had no idea. The whole time we worked together, I had no idea. And I love Johnny Gunn to this day. But he liked to, on Saturday nights, put on women's clothes and go out and party. Never said a word to us about, which don't care. Right. He wasn't out there preaching, you should be, be doing this and you should be doing that. Don't care what you do. Stop trying to shove it down my throat.
Right. And it's interesting. What was the whole thing when we started to see this shift? It started with same-sex marriage, but it was a lot of other things that were going on at the same time. It was what? Tolerance. Okay. Well, tolerance is fine. Look, I tolerate a lot of things. I tolerate, and this is why I always like to remind people who, will criticize me over some of the issues related to same-sex marriage and so on. I say, look, there's a lot of things my straight friends do that I disagree with too, but they're not asking that I accept it. They're not asking that I embrace it. They're not asking that I participate in it. I'm not asking that you all participate in what I do, which has nothing to do with cross-dressing. It's entirely taking pictures of trains, in case you're wondering. But that is tolerance. What is being preached now is coercion. And that is no different than what you get in totalitarian societies.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's, speaking of totalitarian, this whole situation up there in Great Falls, Montana, we can thank the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 for this little gem, which is, unless they come out with some, and everybody, well, wait until the evidence comes out. The problem is, I don't trust them now. I don't trust any of these clowns. I don't trust any of these agencies. I don't trust the ATF. I don't trust the IRS. I don't trust the TSA. I don't trust any of them. They go into this gun shop in Great Falls, armed to the teeth, both the ATF and the IRS. And what they took is the weird part, right?
Right. So here's the interesting thing. So they go there and first they claim, well, you didn't report income, so therefore we're coming to raid you. Now, I want to stop there for a second. Why is it that we have allowed, not just for the past few years, not just for the past few decades, but for over a century, we have made not paying politicians to do what they want to do forcibly, we've made that a crime. With not reporting your income is a crime. Now, I'm sorry. A crime is murder. A crime is theft. A crime is rape. Not reporting your income to the IRS so the IRS can go ahead and give money to politicians to put shrimp on a treadmill. And don't forget, They actually did pay to put shrimp on treadmills. That is not what my idea of a crime is. But let's go a little bit further. So they go there, they claim that this gun store owner does not report his income, so they raid the place. And what do they look for? Are they looking for evidence of unreported income? Not at all. Are they looking for evidence of money laundering? Not at all. What are they doing? They're looking for and find and take the forms that tell who bought guns for the last 13 years. Now, anybody who has guns, anybody who's a firearms enthusiast, anyone who believes in self-defense, you know the number one rule of gun ownership: don't talk about gun ownership. Why? You don't want anybody to know what you have. You want that to be private. That means no one will go steal it. And also, it makes it hard if somebody were going to intimidate you to know what they're, easy to know what they're going up against. But this is just a clear example of intimidating the gun store owner and then also intimidating the purchasers, because now they can go through, they have data that they did not have before, and go back 13 years and say, well, Phil, I see you bought an AR-15. Exactly what I was trying not to share with the IRS. Not because I'm trying to do ill to them, but because this is a private thing. It's my right that I'm choosing to exercise. What's next? Ask who I'm going to vote for.
It's none of their damn business. Exactly. Right. I just now looked this up because I thought, I wonder, according to wisevoter.com, states with the highest gun ownership. Which state do you suppose has the highest gun ownership, Phil, if you had to take a stab at it?
Well, since I can see I would actually say Texas, but since I can see your screen, I see it is in fact Montana, exactly where they went.
Household firearm ownership rate of 65.7%. The second state with the highest gun ownership rate, Wyoming, firearm ownership rate of 60.7%. Third and fourth with the highest gun ownership rates are West Virginia and Idaho.
I can't believe Texas is not in the top three.
I'm surprised. Yeah. The fifth state with the highest gun ownership rate, Alaska, 6th, 7th, and 8th, South Dakota, Oklahoma, and Mississippi.
Oh, my God.
North Dakota, and the 10th state with the highest gun ownership, Alabama.
Texas is not even in the top 10.
Not according to wisevoter.com. Now, here's what'll be interesting. If the next raid that we see is either in Wyoming, in Montana again, or in Wyoming or West Virginia.
Right.
I mean, it's obvious that that's what this government wants to do. They want to find out who owns guns. It's the first step in, the downfall of society. They figure out who has the guns. They try to take the guns, and then we're screwed.
Exactly right. But here's the thing that rankles me even more than the raid itself. Now, I'm going to tell you, you know me, I'm a conservative Republican. I'm a Trump Republican. I'm a Limbaugh Republican. I'm a Reagan Republican. So I love a lot of the people, folks out there, Matt Rosendale, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and so on. Now, what has been the response? Lauren Boebert, like I said, we love, she tweets, "This is the government our founding fathers warned us about." Marjorie Taylor Greene, demolish the IRS, defund the ATF. Matt Rosendale, who represents Montana, he said, "Hey, I demand this cease." He sent a letter. What am I criticizing here? Not those things. I think those are good. But these people are in a position to act. Today in the House, there should be a raft of legislation that comes in that defunds the ATF, that defunds the IRS, or at the very least prohibits this from happening. We should be seeing that legislation today. This took place on the 14th, so it's been 6 days since this happened, and it should be here. We should not be just saying, okay, I'm going to tweet something out here. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter. A strongly worded letter is legislation that says, hell no, we're not going to do this anymore. And not only that, but the next thing that you want to run through this House, that you want us to pass is supposedly must-pass legislation, it won't go anywhere unless it's attached to it. And that is what we should be hearing from our folks on Capitol Hill. And frankly, I'm disappointed that we're not.
This brings me to my next point, which, again, my opinion, not necessarily Phil's. Kevin McCarthy is a giant piece of shit because he was the one who allowed in the negotiation this what is it, 85 million, however much went to the IRS. It was like 2% less than what they wanted. So he had his fingerprints are all over this thing as well. Which again is why people hate politicians. They say one thing, they do another. And I agree with you. Why the hell aren't there stacks of legislation against or proposed bills? Why aren't there a stack of them right now ready to get run through the process?
Exactly. Now, I hope that, especially because, we reach a very, very big audience here through Mojo 50 that is conservative, that a lot of the folks here will say, okay, you know what? I'm going to call my member and I'm going to ask them to do it, especially if you have a good Republican, a good conservative out there. But this is one example, and then look through all of the other examples of what's going on. That's insane. If Biden is continuing to regulate stealthily a variety of things, why are we not pushing them to put these bills in? And then if they refuse to do it or give us a song and dance about, we're going to deal with that in the next fight. Well, then let's let them know right now in 2023 that there will be a primary challenger to them in 2024. Let's let them know that we are not supporting them because they have ours by their names. We're not supporting them because they're cool people with great Twitters. We're supporting them because their job is to serve us, and serving us is standing up for our basic constitutional rights, which starts with us being able to bear arms and also not be intimidated by the government for doing so.
Is your confidence still high in MTG?
Well, my confidence in MTG has always been as high as her constituents. And that's the same thing I say about Kevin McCarthy and the rest of the group. Look, they are, and I think we discussed a couple of weeks ago, it is very, very seductive to go to the Hill and then get subsumed by the culture. The culture is big. The culture is deep-seated. I suspect that she has had some of the culture subsume her in the time that she's been there. I think she still believes the right things. I think she's willing to do the right things, but it's going to be up to her constituents to say, hey, Marjorie, look, we love you, but we'll replace you just like we did your predecessor if you're not willing to follow and serve us.
And something else that struck me about this raid, why do you come in with 20 armed agents from the IRS and the ATF? Why do you do that? If you're looking for evidence of money laundering, of whatever it is, why do you come in looking, like a terrorist organization raiding somebody's business? Why do that? Why not go in, you talk to the owner, you gather evidence. Here's what we need to see. But instead you go in there with, the intimidation tactics. Why do they do that as opposed to, trying the, the non-over-the-top methods?
Well, because they know one thing about a lot of Americans, which is that we are generally averse to conflict. And the more and more that somebody like a registered FFL, especially somebody if they're established for a long time, they've built a business, they've supported their family with that and the like, they are going to start to think, look, I don't want this kind of intimidation. I don't want to bring this on myself and my family. I love what I do. I hate what they're doing, but I'm going to bow out. And so it's this kind of quiet way of building a barrier to entry so that now there will be fewer people willing to do that. And then especially you think about if somebody's in any business, they get older, they've done it for a while, they don't really want to do it anymore, they don't really want to build from scratch, so they leave. And so then as time goes on, you'll see fewer and fewer and fewer, and it's one way to constrict our supply of guns is by making it hard to get them since no one will want to sell them.
Makes perfect sense. And especially makes perfect sense in this dystopian world that we now find ourselves in, which brings me to the event listed over at FreedomWorks on the front page. Tell me about what's happening here.
So quick, central bank digital currencies. It's what you've heard called the digital dollar. This is a potential way that the government could take the money we have, our cash, make it digital, and therefore they would be able to control it. They have even said that at times they might be able to put more money in your account when they want to expand the money supply, when they want to kind of stimmy checks, or they could take money out when they want to slow things down. Well, here's another way to look at it. What happens when you go to buy that AR-15 at the gun store in Great Falls? You swipe your card and it says, we're not going to let you buy another gun for another 2 to 3 years. Why? Because the money is controlled by the government. It is no longer your money. So that's why if you're in the DC area, we want you to join us, learn about CBDCs, learn about the problems and the solutions.
10 years ago, probably 15, if you put something like this up online, you'd be called wackos.
Yep.
This would be, you're paranoid. You are, you need to be in the loony bin. And now, again, you shake your head because here's where we are. It's gotten this damned weird. It's really disconcerting. So yeah. So if you're within the sound of our voice, it behooves all of us for you to get over to freedomworks.org and become part of the solution. Because if you're not part of the solution, you know what they say, you're part of the problem. You got anything exciting planned for the rest of the week, Phil?
Exciting. Well, we're going to keep fighting the insanity of liberal crazy, or some people call it the NWO. We're going to keep fighting, not the good NWO from the WWF. We're going to keep doing that, and we're actually going to get ready for this event because it's going to be big. So that's why I'm glad you brought it up. This is something that is pivotal for us. So it's really a lot of planning.